Hello students, and welcome to this video for Publisher exercise number 3. We're going to get started talking about some skills here today before we get into the actual exercise. So this isn't something you have to do, but it's something I want you to watch. Make sure you understand it because it's going to make it a lot easier for you later on. So you can see here we have a few things on our page. We've got some text, we've got a picture, and we also have word art as well. Now how Publisher treats everything in this program, it treats everything as an object. So a text, even if it has text in it, it's an object. If it has a picture in it, it's an object. If it's word art, it's an object. All those things are treated as an object. So it's a little bit different from what we have with other applications. Now, when we select an object, of course, you just click on it. You'll notice we have those dots appear around it. They're basically like all the other programs we've used. You can see this button here. It gives me the option to switch the picture if I want to, but still keep it in that placeholder. We have different options like that. Now, something to keep in mind when you're changing the size of images, and I see a lot of students do this, they'll grab these middle dots right here. That's not a good idea because when you do that and you change it, you'll notice you're messing up what's called the aspect ratio. And often nowadays, most of the time that you hear this mentioned, it's typically in reference to like a TV or a monitor. But the aspect ratio is basically the ratio of the width to the height for an object. And so when I changed it, I'm distorting the picture because I didn't keep the aspect ratio. So when you change the size of an image, you're going to want to grab the corners, because then you can change it and it's still going to keep the aspect ratio. You can see that it's keeping that overall general shape, just changing in size. And of course when I let go, that's when it actually happens. So these are size handles. That's the actual name for it, but that's what allows us to change the size. You'll notice there's that outside border, that outline as well. And then don't forget up here at the top, this is the rotation handle. So rotation handle. If I want to change exactly how it is in my picture, I can click and drag that just like I clicked and dragged the other size handles to change it, and I can make it look how I want with it. So lots of different options for you here with it. But main thing to keep in mind is, remember, Publisher treats all these things as different objects. Doesn't matter what's inside of them. And then of course you have your different size handles, selection handles, and you want to keep the aspect ratio because we're going to be changing some of those things today. And of course you don't want to mess it up. Now if you want to get rid of them, with a picture it's pretty simple. You click on it, you push delete, and it's gone. Very simple. When it comes to a text box, it's a little bit more difficult. What you need to do is move to that outside edge, and you can just see my mouse now change from, we have the insertion point looking one, to a four-headed arrow. And if I click on the outside of it, then it lets me select it and I can push delete or backspace. If you don't do that, all it does is it goes into the text box and it messes with the text. So if you want to actually get rid of it completely, you got to click on the outside edge and then choose delete or backspace, one of the two. So those are our skills that we need to go over here for our exercise here for Publisher number 3. So first thing we got to do is we need to open up Pub03. So I'm going to do that file. I'm going to close this out here. You need to just choose open, and of course Pub03. You should have downloaded this. So if you're taking this class, it's from plusportals.com. If you're somebody who's just watching this video, maybe you're following along on your own, you have the book, you need to get this file from the right location. So I'm going to Pub03. You can see right here, and we're going to choose to open it. And the very first thing it has us do is save it as 03 Geo. So I'm going to choose File and Save As. Don't click Save because it's going to go to the same folder that it's already in. So we want to choose File, Save As, and Browse. Right away, Browse. Now first thing you got to do is go to the folder you need to save it in. So I'm going to click on Documents, choosing my folder that I save it to. You're going to choose your flash drive or wherever you're supposed to save it. Do that right away because I have a lot of students who they mess up in this step. They save in the wrong spot, and then when they go to submit it, they mess everything up. So now let's change the name, 03 Geo underscore your initials. Now it's important you capitalize those letters. We're following the instructions here. That's how you earn points for this class. So make sure you're doing that. So 03 Geo underscore your initials. Change it here. Alright, so we've just done that. Now it says, I'm going to leave it kind of branched out here. Now sometimes what will happen and I've seen this happen with students, when you open up this file, it groups them together. So if it doesn't let you select like these individual, they make me think of pieces of bacon, except for the green ones or bacon that's gone bad. But if it doesn't let you just select the individual things, you might have to right click and choose ungroup from somewhere as in the list, because I have seen that happen. So if it's all grouped together, when you click on it, right click, ungroup is what you need to do, or separate. So now it says select the yellow background, so I'm going to click on it behind the text and press delete to move it. So I've clicked on it, I'm going to push delete, and now you can see it's gone. Very simple. Then this next step after that, number 4, it says enlarge the area created by the wavy graphic line. So these are our strips of bacon right here. Move each of the wavy graphic lines so that each is on top of the blue dotted margin guide. So these are the margin guides right here, that blue outline. And it says stretch each end of each of the wavy graphic lines so each line sticks out past the intersection with another line about 1/4 of an inch. So first thing we're going to do, we need to move it so they're to the blue margins. Now you can see that at some points like it's almost on top of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the picture, and let's kind of make this nice and straight first. Oh, I'm going a little too far. So let's do this. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it better. So you can see I use the rotation handle to move it this way, and then we're going to just move it up here to the blue margin line, and we're going to go on top of that like this. So that's how it should look. I'm going to go down to the bottom, do the same thing. Use the rotation handle. So I click on the object first. Now you can see this one's kind of upside down already. So click on the object first, click, rotate it. Now if you need to, I tend to move my mouse a little further away, and that makes it a little easier to rotate it. So you can see it's nice straight, and then same thing, we just bring it down. So click and drag, bring it down so it's on top of the blue margin line. And then let's do the same for the side ones as well. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I'm actually going to zoom out so I can see the whole line. It makes it easier for you to do that, especially with me having the magnifier on. Let's do this. I'm going to do view whole page. There we go. So you click on the object, you click on the rotation handle, and then of course you're rotating it. Now we don't have to rotate it a lot. You can see I moved it one thing basically, and it's about where it needs to be. And then same thing, we're going to click and drag it so it's over the blue line right there. And same thing again, go over to the other line, rotation handle. I'm just going to move it just a itty bit. It's a little, it's about there. And then click and drag. It's hard when you mess with wavy lines. Alright, so we've got it now basically set up here with that first part. Now they did say we need them when they intersect to go out about 1/4 of an inch. So you can see like right now with this red line, it's only, it comes right to the edge. So I'm going to click and drag the one dot, bring it about there, 1/4 inch. Same thing for this blue line. Let's bring it out here about 1/4 of an inch. And you can look up here to see it. This is about 1/4 of an inch right here. So you want to match that. And you can see it does a pretty good job with the rest of them. I just had to adjust the bottom a little bit. So just like that. So you need those. We use the rotation handles. We have it lined up more. So now you can see, as opposed to having the yellow in it, now we can just make a border with that. Now it does say we need to delete the Geology Club meeting text box. So right up here, this one, I'm going to click on the outline. You can see I just selected it. I'm going to choose delete. And then it says reposition and resize the remaining text box as shown in illustration A. So I'm just going to show you on my big screen here. Wow, the big screen. I'm going to show you here in the video, and then you'll be able to adjust it. So I'm going to bring it down to about here. I'm going to spread out the box so it goes closer to the edge to about this. I would wait till I finish it here, and then you can see how it looks. And then I'm going to shorten it a little bit. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit more. So about right here is what it's going to look like. So you can see I have it about the 7-inch mark over on the left side here. So about right here. And then of course you got a little bit of space around those gaps there. So once you finish doing that, you're going to save it again. So click up here on this or Control S, and then you do need to print. So remember, File, Print, and then we're doing Microsoft Print to PDF. And you're going to choose Print again. Let me go through it a little bit slower so you can see it. So File, oh, yes. So File, Print, Microsoft Print to PDF should be selected, and choose Print. It's going to bring up that dialog box to save it, and you're just using the same name. So this is 03 geo underscore your initials. Just that. Then save it. All right, now we can close this one and keep Publisher open. So I'm just going to do File, Close, and then I'm going to end up, I can choose to save it again, and then I'm going to open up. So open and browse, and we're opening up the next exercise, or next file, excuse me, for our exercise. So I'm going to go to Downloads where I have my file, and we're going to be opening up OPUB 03, OPUB 03, and choose Open. So we're going back to that car wash file we worked on. And we're going to save it right away. So File, Save As, and then we're going to choose the right folder. So now when you save it enough times, it'll end up appearing over here. And so you can just click here. But what you may need to do is choose Browse. I'm going to choose CA Demonstration 2 because that's where I've been saving it. And we're going to name it 03 wash underscore my initials. So very simple. And then push Enter to save it. Now there's a few things we need to do. It says we need to move, resize, and or delete the various elements on the flyer as desired. So here's some ideas of things you can do, and we're just going to do their ideas. It says delete the text box. So apparently there's a text box down here that they want us to get rid of. So right down here, this one, bottom right corner, you can see it. I'm going to push delete. Then it also says we need to make the starburst graphics larger and move them around. So when it's talking about starburst, it's not the candy, as nice as that would be. It's these ones right here. So it says move them around. So I'll grab this one, move it down here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So just like that. And then let's get this one. Now something you'll notice is that when I move my mouse up here, this text box is kind of getting in the way. Remember, you can arrange where stuff goes. So you can see if I click on the Home tab, over here in my Arrange group, I can bring it forward, I can send it backwards, or I can align it. So what I can do is I can click Send Backwards, and you can see now it's getting covered up by this other stuff. So I'm actually going to undo this. And we're going to leave these alone, but if you wanted to, that's how you could do it. So I'm going to click and get this one right here. I'm going to bring it down here next to this one, and then make it a little bit bigger, just like that. So if you want to change more of them, that's fine. We're going to leave it right there for now. Then it says make the car wash text box at the top a little bit smaller so it's less overwhelming. It's kind of big. So let's click on this. You'll notice it's selected the text inside. So let's do this. So let's click the outside edge. Now you'll notice we can change it without messing up the text. Grab that one of the corner dots. We want to keep that aspect ratio. Now with text it's a little bit different. I have to hold down Shift if I want to keep the aspect ratio. So I hold down Shift. I'm going to make it smaller. So basically about there, and then we can click and drag and bring it back to where it about was. So something like that. So it's just smaller, less overwhelming. And it says make the white oval larger and make the text box that sits on top of it larger too. So right over here, this is where we have our text boxes, and then of course the oval. So let's click on the oval. We need to make it bigger. I'm going to just click and drag this handle right over here like this. Make it a little bit bigger there. Let's click and drag this other corner here. Make it a little bit bigger there. And then same thing is they want the text to be bigger. So I think there's a couple ways we can do this, but I'm going to try doing this. I'm going to select both text boxes. The way you do that, you click on the outline of one, hold down Control, click on the outline of the other one, and then we should be able to just click and drag the corner, and it should make it bigger, like that. And of course, we're going to have to readjust it here. So I'm actually using my arrow keys to move it, like this. And there we go. So those were the things that you needed to change. Let's click on the Save button next. And it says after that, exit publisher. There's going to be 3 things that you submit for this exercise. You got this publisher file right here, 03 wash, underscore your initials, and then you of course have the publisher file and PDF for 03 geo. So make sure to submit those files, and that's how you complete publisher exercise number 3.